So I just said, you know what? Let me go ahead and build an app just for African radio. I went ahead and built it. It went viral. I'm talking about it was trending on Twitter. Different celebrities were out there downloading it. So I packed up everything I owned. I was at the time working in New York at a finance company, but in the tech department. And I just left everything. I left everything, moved back to Nigeria. And I'm from Nigeria, but honestly, I left there when I was a child.
People think IT is all about coding, all about math and things like that. There's different parts of IT that you can get into, right? That you don't need to be super technical, right? A lot of my students, some of them are nurses, some are teachers. A lot of my students were Uber drivers. Right, they were able to take my program and ended up getting 6-figure careers, right?
Welcome to Code and Capital Podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss the latest concepts in technology, career development, and investment strategies to make your money work for you. My name is Bukola Akinfaderin, also known as the App Queen. I am the CEO and founder of MyMVPApp.com. It's a consulting company where we work with small businesses, branding, logo creation, and website design. And this is my co-host, Wale.
My name is Wale Shogbola, CEO and founder of ISO Consulting, a consulting company where we help non-tech individuals get into the tech industry through intensive boot camps and hands-on training. I've helped over 100 individuals break into the tech industry, averaging salaries of 6 figures. So that's a little bit about me.
Right. So in this podcast, we'll be giving you fresh content every month about the latest happening in technology, different financial news, and just things that can help you break into the tech world. So that's how we're going to, get started with this podcast.
So I know you're building apps, right?
Right.
So can you just tell us how you got into building applications?
So this started about 23 years ago. I have a very long career. I actually started at Wesleyan University in Connecticut. I got my computer science degree. And after I graduated, the market was super, super hard getting jobs. So I ended up doing everything way out of my career, right? So I started doing graphic design. I learned how to do that. I worked for a nonprofit. I ended up actually also learning how to fix laptops, believe it or not. And then network certifications, systems admin, all those different, odd jobs while trying to get the tech work started. At that point, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter. So imagine graduating with a computer science degree at that time period, and these big tech companies, they didn't really exist. So I had to kind of find my way around, what do I do with my computer science degree at this point in time? So that was really crazy.
And I remember you told me you lived in Nigeria for some while. So can you just talk about your experience in Nigeria?
Yeah. So funny enough, I ended up building this app that went viral. It was a radio app. It was called Jandus Radio. It basically allowed diasporans from the UK and the US to listen to, the music in Nigeria and other African countries. At that time, Afrobeats just started. It was around 2010, 2011. Afrobeats was just coming on the scene, and there weren't a lot of apps that were connecting back to African roots. There was TuneIn, but they were mostly playing American musics, nothing in the African space. So I just said, you know what? Let me go ahead and build an app just for African radio. I went ahead and built it. It went viral. I'm talking about it was trending on Twitter. Different celebrities were out there downloading it. And then I got a call from someone in Nigeria that had a record label, and they were like, wow, your app is going viral down here. What do you think about coming down to Nigeria and, building a business out of this? So I packed up everything I owned. I was at the time working in New York at a finance company, but in the tech department. And I just left everything. I left everything, moved back to Nigeria. And I'm from Nigeria, but honestly, I left there when I was a child.
Wow. So
I didn't really have roots there. So imagine going back, late, in your career and trying to get started from the beginning. So I took the leap of faith. I went back there, started my company. It was tough navigating Nigeria, I'm going to tell you. You would think it would be easy, but no, it was difficult. You had to learn how to basically get an apartment. It's not like here. There's hurdles just to even get an apartment. Yeah. So it was a good journey. I ended up making a lot of connections with record labels, musicians, radio stations. At a point, I even had ads on radio. I had a partnership with Microsoft Africa where they kind of connected with me to build their app for, they had a Windows phone back then. And I ended up building an app for them. Windows. And even Nokia had their little feature phones, and I was actually contacted by them as well to build my app for their platform. So all in all, it was an awesome experience.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. So how long did you stay in Nigeria for? Did you stay there for multiple years, or did you have to come back? How was that experience like?
So I actually was there for about 4 years. At the time, things got really rough in Nigeria. There was a change of power, political climate got rough. So at that point, I was just looking for opportunities to kind of get out of Nigeria at that point in time. So I got reached out to by a company in Silicon Valley. Not going to mention their name, but a pretty big tech company, and they reached out to me. They had actually Googled me and found about how I built this, app that went viral, in Africa. And they sent me a interview take home, basically, to build an app just to see if I had the skills that I was claiming to have, right? So they sent me an email, and they said, here's this app. I'm going to give you a JSON file, which is like a response file for those of our techies that know what that means. And they said, yeah, build this app and you have 2 hours to do it. So I was like, okay, I'll take the challenge. Okay, the first thing that happened, the lights went out.
The lights went out. For those of that in Nigeria, there's something called NEPA. That means, you could be doing your work, the power just goes out. You got to wait maybe hours, even days before the power. Plus
right.
you actually have to go through that while you're doing an interview.
So imagine trying to build an app. You only have a 2-hour time period, and then the light is completely going out. So your battery life on your laptop is running low. So I was like, okay, let me figure out how to do this. I got my act together. I got everything needed, and I just started working on the app offline. It didn't really need that much internet connection. So I started working on the app offline. I ended up building the UX, which is the user experience, the design for it. Back then, I just built it in Photoshop.
Wow.
And then I connected the JSON file to pull down the responses and displayed all the information on the app. I built the whole app. I built an APK for it.
Wow.
And for those of you who don't know what the APK
you got to
is.
explain what APK is for sure.
APK is just a binary file that where you actually build an Android app, it compiles into an APK. Those are the things that you can upload to the Google Play Store. Okay. So I actually built one, zipped it up in a file, and sent it out to them. And they were blown away. I mean, they were like, we didn't expect you to get this far. I mean, we just thought that you would just, kind of show us your progress on what you did with the app, but you actually completed, we don't have any candidates that has completed the app full back end, front end design. You even did your own design and sent it to us in 2 hours. That has never been done. So they were really impressed. They actually asked me to come and interview on site in San Francisco. Yeah.
Silicon
so imagine
Valley.
I was still in Nigeria at that time period, right? And I had to get my things. I got a little carry-on. I didn't put too much in it. And I left. I bought a ticket. I went to San Francisco. I didn't really know a lot of people there, but I was like, I'm taking the risk. I went to San Francisco, interviewed for the job, got the job, and the rest is kind of history.
Wow. What a story. That's impressive.
Yeah. So basically, let's hear about you a little bit.
No, you're the star. But no, for me, I have a traditional background getting into the tech industry, right? In college, I was studying finance, right? So I wanted to work on Wall Street. That was my goal. I was part of an investment group in college. I went to Southern Connecticut State University in Connecticut. You went to Wesleyan?
Yeah.
We were both from Connecticut. I mean, we went to school. We both went to school in Connecticut. Funny. That's a little connection, right?
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that later.
About
We'll talk about that later. But like I said, I had a non-traditional background. I wanted to work on Wall Street. When I graduated during the economic downturn in 2010. There was not really a lot of jobs available. So I did all sorts of jobs, right? So just to pay bills, right? Pay my phone bill, pay my rent. I remember working door to door, selling knives, right? I was selling knives, door to door, selling knives, just to make ends meet, right? But it only lasted one day, right? I couldn't do it for more than one other day. So again, for me, I just wanted to kind of, keep on going, right? Even I didn't let what was going on kind of deter me from trying to be successful, right? So I was a financial aid advisor, right? So, for like 2 years, I was helping people get financial aid for online school back in Connecticut. Fast forward 2 years, I ended up moving to Pittsburgh. I had a good friend that just did his MBA, and he said, hey, I just finished this program, and I think you'd be a good fit, right? He got his first role in IT as an IT auditor. So he said, hey, Wale, I think you'd be good for this role because I have a finance degree. He has an MBA, had a finance. He said, hey, this is something that you could easily relate to. So he said, I'll connect you with the program. So I took the program. He also connected me with the information to get my certification, which is a CISA, called a CISA, Certified Information Systems Auditor, right? So I also took that exam, and I passed it on my first try as well. So I finished the program, I kind of stayed connected with him, like, hey, I need your help with either my resume, interview. So he kind of held my hand a little bit.
Right.
But sometimes you kind of need somebody to kind of show you the ropes, especially trying to get into a new industry, right? Because again, I didn't do computer science in school. I didn't take any kind of special IT classes, right? But IT, there's people think IT is all about coding, all about math and things like that. There's different parts of IT that you can get into, right? That you don't need to be super technical, right? So think about governance, GRC, governance, risk and compliance. Think about audit. You don't need to be super technical as well as something you can learn. A lot of my students, some of them are nurses, some are teachers. A lot of my students were Uber drivers, and they were able to take my program and ended up getting 6-figure careers, right?
That's amazing.
So that's just to tell you that you don't need to be super techie to get into. A lot of people don't know that. So that's something I'm letting people know, that you don't have to be super techie to get into the tech industry. So, after I did my my program, I did my resume, I applied for like 4 jobs. The job that I actually taken, a recruiter found me on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is very important. I think till this day, I think LinkedIn is very important. A lot of the jobs, all my jobs, I'm not gonna lie to you, all my jobs that I've gotten in the tech career has came through LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn, so for those that are thinking about putting a resume on LinkedIn, please do, because a lot of recruiters use that to look for top candidates as well. So again, this was back in 2015, did my first interview. Again, this was not a virtual interview. This was a in-person interview. Right. I had my little briefcase, had my resume, had like 10 resumes printed out. So I just kind of handed it out. I met with 4 people. I met with the director of the company. I met with my manager and 2 of my team members, right? So they took me out to lunch as well during that interview. It was one of the biggest companies in Pittsburgh at the time, right? And they're a chemical company as well. So I started there, entry level, just doing IT audits. Right. They just sent me all over the world as well. I should travel like to Paris, to Brazil to do different type of projects, right? So that's where I started. I started as a staff IT auditor, right? That's like entry level into IT. Then, of course, I always wanted to move up. So after Pittsburgh, I applied for a job here in Houston. As also an oil and gas company here in Houston. They gave me a senior position. So I did that for 2 years. Another company, I wasn't looking for a job. Another company reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to come? Another oil and gas, another competitor, they reached out to me, but they were offering 20% bonus on top of your salary. So my other company wasn't offering a bonus, right? So I decided to take that company, that role, did it for 2 years. I enjoyed that company because I was traveling every other month. I was traveling. I enjoyed kind of gaining different experiences from different cultures as well. So that's just how I got into the tech industry. And now I'm working for one of the top tech companies in the world. I can't say names, but
but if you want to know, the founder, his name rhymes with Jill Bates. Okay, Jill Bates.
That's what I can say. That's what he's gonna say. But now, even working with that, I've gained a lot of experience over the past 10 years of my career. Again, with my boot camp, my goal is just to help people that are looking to get into the tech industry, maybe looking for a new career. Again, I'm always ready to help, even just from a networking standpoint, right? So that's a little bit about myself.
I feel like we should go into how we met.
Okay, how do we meet? Go ahead.
Okay, so both of us are extremely into financial freedom, financial independence, financial education, right? Mm-hmm. So we had gone to a tech conference here in Houston, and when we got there, we kind of met at the after party, right?
Yeah, it was like Afrotech was doing something in Houston. Yep, it wasn't a conference. It was like a meetup. It was like a meetup. It was like a meetup. It was a meetup.
So we met there, and then he invited me to a different event. I'm like, where are you trying to take me to? This guy's trying to kidnap me, telling us to, and it wasn't just me, by the way. It was me and like 5 other girls. So I'm like, what is this guy up to, telling us to come to a private event. So I was like, okay, let's go. So we ended up going to
Victor's,
and they had it at this very upscale hotel. Like you went, there was champagne, there was a lot of your high class people there. I was like, okay, what is this? Like, I haven't seen this kind of scene and vibe in Houston before, and there was a lot of Africans there too. So that was very, very cool. And we got into the real estate investment side, like trying to understand how we can make our money work. Our tech money, right? A lot of tech earners are earning like 6-figure salaries. So like, how do you make that money work for you? And real estate is just one of those vehicles that you can use. So we became part of that, that community of learning different real estate opportunities out here in Houston, right? So, and then after that, you are now an Airbnb owner.
Yes,
so
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that part.
So now, like she said, right? You're making all this money. Tech, it doesn't have to be tech. It could be a doctor,
right?
You could be a nurse. A lot of people are making good income, right? So my goal was always to own something like business. I have already had 2 businesses, but I always want to own something tangible, right? My brother always tell me, hey, you could do ETFs in the real estate, but I wanted to own something tangible. I think that fits my vibe a little bit better. So we ended up buying a townhouse in the medical center, but it took us like a whole year to trying to find a property, right? I wanted to get into an area that's up and coming, right? Because other areas are a little expensive, but I was looking more on the equity side, something that maybe in the next 10 years could double or triple. So that's kind of what I was looking for. I had a good realtor. He took me to over like 10 different properties, but I was set on one. For me, it was a distance to the stadium, the distance to the NBA arena, the Toyota Center, and also access to the medical center, right? Because I know a lot of people are always looking for short-term rentals, travel nurses, and things like that. So that's kind of what we were going for. And I also wanted to do something really good, right? As far as design, I had an interior design that was amazing. She did an amazing job.
Yeah, this is nice.
Shout out to Soko ID. She did an amazing job designing the property. Anybody that books the apartments, the townhouse, always rave about how beautiful the decor is, right? So again, thank God, since we launched in March 2024. We've been constantly being booked on weekends, and sometimes people book for private events, private parties. So it's been good. Basically, the Airbnb has been paying for itself. Little profits here and there, but it's a really competitive market, right? So if you try to get into it, just know it's a very competitive market. It's gonna be some competition. So you got to come correct if you're gonna get into the Airbnb business. But it's been good, and I also I have plans to own in different countries, Airbnbs in different countries. So that's kind of what's next for me.
Nice. So these are just some of the topics that we're going to be going into in this podcast. Owning Airbnb, arbitrage, investment strategies, crypto. AI is another big topic. We don't know yet. So we're going to be discussing crypto as well. What else do you think we can touch on?
Definitely personal finance, how to make sure your money's working for you. For example, a lot of people kind of pass up on 401ks, right? The match, retirement. Right? It's free money. If a company is giving you a match, making sure you're able to match it. Some stock options as well. How do you utilize stock options as well? And all types of different investing. We're going to have different guests that have different knowledge and different part of investing. A lot of people are doing a lot of interesting things in Houston, right? We want to showcase what our community is doing in the finance and the tech world as well.
So guys, if you are interested in topics like this, if you're interested in tech and finance, just like, share, and subscribe and join us here on the channel. We hope to see you soon.
Code is capital. Code and capital.
Take care, guys.
Awesome.